And we've got from Razor Claw, who said, what do you think about the Sloot interview? Same old Blizzard PR bullshit. So the Sloot interview, we will cover that properly in the WoW news that goes up live tomorrow. Yeah. I think for talking about the overall impressions of the interview, it was less philosophical.
Yes.
Now, I do not think the answers were super satisfying in many cases.
Yeah, I think we can get most of it by the image that Dakar picked out from the interview, which is more specifically that's like Sloot's reaction to, I don't know which one super specifically, but in general it's like this is the decisions being made that raiders aren't super happy about from like a kind of real specific point of view, like the weapon token stuff and the weapon token stuff, the mythic, the last two bosses only weapon stuff, that kind of thing. But as an interview, as far as an actual interview is concerned, it wasn't anything like a train wreck, anything like that.
It was one of those things where, it was a little frustrating whenever, like, well, not actually frustrating. It was, those things where, like, Morgan is talking about, the weapon drops.
Yeah.
And, stuff from the, just the distribution throughout the raid. And then Morgan just says, but you literally did that last tier in the weapon tokens. And it was like, those points hadn't clicked for him in his head. And he's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, was that a satisfying answer? No, I think it was just a guy who was put in the spot.
Yeah.
But what's nice is it felt a bit real.
Yes.
And it wasn't necessarily, it didn't sort of very quickly go to a philosophical defense and explanation of what the team is doing. So I think that, it felt better. It didn't have a massive amount that I cared about, but it actually did. No, I remember the question Sloot saved for around the end, where I think he hammered in on it, like with 2 or 3 follow-ups.
Which one was that? I forget.
I've totally spaced.
Nice.
It was some like more broad state of the game stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just that thing where I think the interview style would come across way better to players because it was less philosophical and it was, I think, just more talking about kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
Of the game. So, I think more of those things are needed, but as much of the discourse after, I think we need an interview with people who, not people, that's the wrong way. I actually think you could talk about this stuff till the cows come home with Morgan. So maybe actually another interview with Morgan, just that one that is not focused on endgame. I don't mean one focused on leveling, but one that's not focused on raiding and Mythic Plus, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the problem where there's no like super, there's no super popular influencer type who has like this extremely broad aspect because of how World of Warcraft is, you funnel in on a couple things.
Yeah.
There's no one who's like at the center of the World of Warcraft cosmos been like, hello, we can speak about anything with complete clarity. There's no one who's capable of doing that, at least not that I'm aware of. You always have specific perspectives and stuff like that.
Yeah, indeed. So it's interesting. I think just some, maybe it's a sort of thing that like, I don't know. Like, I've done an interview with Ian before, and like it all sort of went grand. But whenever I did that interview, I was trying to cover like a bit of everything. I suppose if I was ever to get another interview slot with somebody from Blizzard, I would try to go out of my way to be like, okay, well, I actually want to talk about, the non-rating experience of the game and the non-PvP experience, just like the general broad experience for the more casual players.
Yeah, the only problem is there you would need like 4 hours of an interview.
And that is the big problem with how a lot of those interviews work. Anytime I've got interviews, they have been 30-minute time slots that have been more tightly controlled. It is those hour-long streamer interviews that I think have so much more potential to be of high value.
Yes.
Unless it's with me and Steve, specifically because I feel like there's some sort of mutual understanding there where I'm just like, oh, I wonder what real juicy stuff he's going to drop this time. And then Steve's kind of, I think, going in being like, haha, I have in my head. That sounds like he's evil. He's just excitedly knowing that he actually has all the cool shit in his head. Yeah. And, he's like, oh, cool, I got to drop a few of these. Yeah. And the community gets to roll with them. And so that's where, in 30 minutes, because it's the lore and it's like so implication based, you can have a humongous amount come from that. But with a lot of the gameplay stuff, it's like, man, you just need the time to do the follow-ups and to get into the weeds. Yeah, we need like an 8-hour interview with Morgan, and it's constantly full of like Sloot going, well, what about this? He's like, oh, we hadn't thought of that actually. Need about
and 8 hours of just that every other time, and that would be well on the path there. But
Yeah.
I mean, they would need to allocate time for that. I'm sure they're all too busy to even do what they already do.
Yeah.
So I'm sure.
So we've got then, of course, Razor Claw asked us to take a look at the Asmongold Twit
Asmongold
longer, which we
and
did.
We know where that went. Cheers.
Yeah.